Did you know there are different ways you could pay your lawyer? Let's talk about 6 different ways you could pay your lawyer. Now, if you're thinking about hiring a lawyer, depending on the scope of work and the law firm, you may be able to pay your lawyer in different ways. First up is hourly.
Come on, have you seen my hourly rate?
This is the most common way to pay your lawyer, and it's just as it sounds. Regardless of how simple or complicated the work is, you pay your law firm an hourly rate. For the law firm, this offers some protection because no matter how simple a project may seem at the beginning, oftentimes unforeseen legal issues come up that require a lot of work to fix. Now, law firms are sensitive to keep costs down, so they'll often staff with junior associates and paralegals who charge a lower rate in order to keep the fee down. Second is deferred fees. This is easiest to understand with a simple example. Now, let's say you're a startup and you want to form your company and put in all the paperwork that's typically expected of a startup. By the way, I have a lot of great videos on my channel about forming a company, so check those out. And you don't have cash to pay your lawyer now to do that. Many startup-focused law firms will form your company and defer charging you any fees until you've racked up a certain amount of legal bills or attained a milestone, like raising a certain amount of money in a Series A financing, whichever comes first. As mentioned, a deferred fee arrangement is common in many startup-focused law firms. Third is fixed price per project. This is also what it sounds like. You and the law firm agree on a discrete project, such as reviewing a contract, registering a trademark, or forming a company, and you also agree on what a conclusion of that project would look like.
So, how much you think it's gonna cost to fix?
Based on that, you and the law firm agree on a fixed price to complete the work. Next is subscription. Here, you pay the law firm a certain amount of money per month, regardless of whether or not you use their services. So in a sense, it's kind of like a Netflix subscription. Now, you should know that the law firm will put limits on what you can access for your subscription plan, so if you go over, you'll have to pay additional fees. Also, you should note that not many large law firms offer this, and it's typically offered by smaller law firms, and the kind of work that's done are usually typical or more commonplace type of legal work. Transactions such as M&A or venture capital financings are typically not covered by subscriptions.
What am I going to do with 40 subscriptions to Vibe?
Next up is contingency. This is where the lawyer gets paid if you win or you get a settlement. You're probably familiar with this because personal injury law firms often use this arrangement. In addition to personal injury lawsuits, sometimes big-ticket business litigation or IP litigation matters are done in a contingency arrangement. Finally is equity. Now, law firms are businesses themselves and they have bills to pay now, such as salaries and overhead. So they'll almost always prefer to be paid now in cash versus equity, which may or may not have value in the long-term future. However, some startup-focused law firms are willing to forego some or all fees that a startup owes them in exchange for equity, usually the form of a warrant. However, you should note that it's rare for law firms and clients to agree for equity ahead of time. Actually, I forgot one more way to pay your lawyer, and that's to subscribe and sign up for the newsletter.